What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch back here with another NFL record prediction. In this video, I'm going to dive into the New York Jets 2020 schedule and give you my game-by-game predictions for the Jets in 2020. A team that in New York expected to do bigger things this season with Sam Darnold back for the entirety of the season. Let's hope. Adam Gase, his second season as head coach. We'll see how the Jets do in my record predictions. Before I give you my thoughts and my prediction for the New York Jets 2020 season, make sure that you do spike the like button. Subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL videos just like this. And of course, comment your opinion below, Jets fans. Let me know what you think your team is going to do this season. You see them as a playoff team. You don't see them quite as a playoff team. What do you think their record will be in the regular season of the 2020 NFL calendar? So I'm back here with another record prediction, this time for the New York Jets. And as you'll see, they already have a win versus the Dolphins and a loss versus the Dolphins. I already did the Miami Dolphins schedule. Start off with week number 1. The New York Jets travel to the Buffalo Bills. I believe this was also the week 1 matchup last year, except it was the reverse. The Bills traveled to New York, and that was a really defensive game. I think it will be quite the same in terms of like the score of the game. It's going to be really close down to the wire. I actually think Josh Allen came back in that game, if I remember it correctly. It's going to be defensive. I think the Jets can stuff the Bills' rushing attack, but they have to deal with Josh Allen's legs to extend plays, and of course, Stephon Diggs back in the fold. And then you have on defense, Bills just very strong pretty much everywhere. I think the Bills are just the superior team. I see the Bills as one of the better teams in the AFC this year. If Josh Allen can keep progressing, I think that's going to be the case. And Buffalo is a tough place to play. It always has been. And that fan base is just crazy, especially the first week of the season. So I have Buffalo winning that game. In week number 2, San Francisco is traveling to New York, which is basically a cross-country trip for San Francisco. So that's not going to be easy. I think where the Jets could possibly pull off the upset here is the fact that they do have a really good run defense, and Greg Williams is great and creative in that regard. San Francisco is run first. If they can force Jimmy Garoppolo in some uncomfortable positions, they could possibly win that game. I'm actually going to leave that for a second here. I want to come back to it because I do think that's a game where they possibly could pull off an upset. The Jets at the Colts. The Colts, again, another team that want to run the ball. They have a very powerful offensive line, and we'll see how Phillip Rivers is this season. He could be great. He could not be great. Their defense is pretty good, and they have a decent enough pass rush to possibly give the Jets offensive line some issues. But I do think that Sam Darnold can have a successful game because this is a zone-heavy defense. And they don't really play a lot of man-to-man versus these receivers. So that's another one that I would say that's close. So in this regard, I am going to actually say that the San Francisco 49ers pull off the victory in New York because I think the difference here is that the 49ers just have too good of a front four. They're just too ferocious in terms of pass rush, and the Jets' offensive line, although improved, I'll give you that, I just don't think they can stack up versus Nick Bosa and the boys. But I will say that they go to Indy and they pull off the upset. So I'm going to say that the Jets pull off the upset versus Indy. I think they'll beat one of these two teams in the first 3 weeks of the season. Then week 4, they play the Broncos. This is definitely a winnable game if they can force Drew Lock into passing situations. And especially early in the season, Denver's not going to be quite as good because they have a lot of rookie receivers and young players on offense. Defensively, though, they're very, very good. And that's going to be really difficult to win and move the ball, period, because Fangio's a great coach. They have great pass rushers off the edge. They have pretty good corners. I think the Broncos win this game. I think that they just have a lot of firepower, and I do believe enough in Drew Lock that I think they can pull that game off. Although I'm not positive, I do think the Jets could definitely win that game. Week 5, the Cardinals and the Jets. Again, another game that I think is super close. Jets have a lot of games here that are tough, but really close and very winnable. So I think what I'm looking at here is the Cardinals coming to New York and winning. And the reason here is because I think Kyler Murray is mobile enough to escape the Jets. A slow defense that really isn't good in containing mobile quarterbacks, and I don't think they have anyone to cover DeAndre Hopkins. So I think that's going to be an issue. So just really slowing down the Cardinals is going to be the main issue for the Jets. So I'm going to give the Cardinals the win there. The Jets and the Chargers. The Chargers are a team that I think wants to run the ball. This is a cross-country trip for the Jets, so that won't be easy. I think the Chargers end up winning this game, although, again, it's another really close one. I think that they could easily win this game, but I think the Chargers, another team just like 49ers, great pass rush, really good defense, and although they basically play in a soccer stadium, are they playing in that this year? I'm not sure. The Chargers, they're just more talented than the Jets. I think it just comes down to that. Then they play the Bills at home. I think they beat the Bills at home. I will give you that. I think that they can win one of the games versus the Bills for sure. Then they play Kansas City in Kansas City. There's no doubt in my mind. I think Kansas City wins that game. I'm sorry. Then they play New England. New England traveling on the road Monday night. This was last year the Sam Darnold I'm seeing ghost game. I'm going to say that the Jets find a way to win this game. I think that New England is really going to have to rely on their rushing attack to win a lot of these games offensively, and I just don't think they're going to be able to do much versus the Jets, especially on the road on a Monday night. That's always difficult. So I'm going to say that the Jets win. And then, of course, we got the Miami games covered. And then you play the Raiders at home. This is another team in the Raiders that wants to dominate the offense of line. They want to dominate the line of scrimmage. I don't think the Vegas secondary is very good, so I don't think that Darnold and his receivers will be outmatched here. I think the Jets are actually a really good matchup for what the Raiders offer, so I'm going to give the Jets the win. They then travel to Seattle. Seattle is just too good at home with Russell Wilson, and again, mobile quarterback. I think the Seattle Seahawks win. The Jets go to the LA Rams. I'm going to say the Rams win. That's tough, man. That's really tough because I don't think the Rams are going to be great this year, but I don't see the Jets being able to pull off that win. Although, if they could dominate the Rams' offensive line, then again, Aaron Donald, you have to block him. That's not easy. Cleveland Browns, New York Jets. This one's tough because I think if anybody can dominate the Jets up front, it's probably Cleveland because they have a really strong rushing attack. They have a really strong offensive line now, and their defensive line is vicious with Myles Garrett. I think Cleveland's just more talented in the secondary and at wide receiver in the skill position. So I think Cleveland's going to be really good this year, guys. I'm sorry. And then week 17, I do think that New England wins at home versus the Jets because the Jets really struggle versus New England in New England just historically. So yeah, I think I had them at 7-9 before with my record prediction. But looking at this schedule, this might be one of the most difficult schedules in the entire NFL. That was not an easy one to predict because, like I said, there was a lot of games there where I kind of hummed and hawed about if they would win or if they would lose. I think there will be in a lot of these games. I think they'll be very competitive. And I actually don't think the Jets are a terrible roster this year. I do think they have a much higher ceiling than 5-11. But when really looking at the schedule and going game by game, it's going to be difficult for them to win more than 7 games this year. Really, just looking at it, because they had a really easy schedule last year, and I know they went 7-9, but I think they were a lot worse than that record indicated. So I'm going to go with 5-11. I know you Jets fans probably be upset with me, but that's just the way I feel. I haven't fully bought into Sam Darnold and Adam Gase yet in this regime. So that's what I have, 5-11. Sorry, guys, but that's just the way I see it. Game by game predictions. Let me know where I'm wrong and why I'm wrong in the comments. Don't just comment hate. Just let me know what you think and why I'm wrong and give me some reasoning behind it. And then I'll definitely look at it and try to adjust to it. So thanks, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed, Gronk spike the like button and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos if you did enjoy this one. All right, guys, it's been Mitch of The Bottom Line View. Peace.